So this is a chart that's showing what is most important to buyers when it comes to the actual building that they're purchasing and the neighborhood. And the number one most important thing by a mile is the safety of the neighborhood. Now, safety is something that you have to be a little bit careful with. You cannot have an opinion about safety. You cannot say, oh, North Park's a really safe neighborhood. You can't do that. There's no opinions when it comes to safety. There are crime statistics, and we can utilize statistics to our advantage, but we cannot give opinions about safety, because if you tell somebody this is a safe neighborhood, Jody Lynn had a really unfortunate situation where she sold, how long ago did they buy it?
February.
She had a client buy a property in February and it got broke into this week. And I don't know, it didn't look like they stole a ton of stuff, but still her house got robbed in the middle of the day. So if she would have told her client, oh, this is a really safe neighborhood, and that something like that happens, that buyer might have some recourse against you. I'm sure there's an attorney that would take that on. Yeah.
I had a client, they closed on their house, and then they dropped off like plates and everything like in the house, and then like right when they closed. And then they went to go move their stuff in that weekend, and someone broke in and stole all the plates and dishware.
Fine china.
Undercover, so you still say
Steve.
You can't even say quiet neighborhood, family-friendly neighborhood. You can't say any of that.
Yeah, you've got to be very careful with it. So what you can do is find articles on media outlets. And somebody says, hey, is this a safe neighborhood? Well, here's an article the Union Tribune wrote about North Park, about Santee, about Carlsbad. You can send them stuff like that that cites sources, but you do not want to give an opinion. You should never answer the question, is this a safe neighborhood? And say, yes, this is a safe neighborhood. You could say this is a neighborhood I choose to raise my family in. That's safe. There's nothing that's left to interpretation. That's fact. So you've got to be careful. But if you know, and I'll try to pull up stats. I know, obviously I live in Santee, so I've studied it. But I believe Santee has a third lowest crime rate of any city within San Diego County. That's pretty good information to have. So if somebody's like, hey, is this a good neighborhood? And you could say, yeah, of the 30 cities in San Diego County, this had the third lowest crime rate of any of them. That's good information to have. But that is all you can do. You've got to cite sources, specific numbers, specific data. You just don't have opinions about safety. Very, very slippery slope there, so be careful with that. The second one, which is also a very slippery slope, is walkability. So walkability is very important to a lot of people, especially in a neighborhood like this. Now, just the word walk is a very slippery word because unfortunately, some people can't walk. They have some sort of disability or impairment that doesn't allow them to. Now, could you send somebody a walk score for a neighborhood? Yes. But you should never say it's a 2-block walk to this or 2-block walk to that. You should literally get rid of the word walk unless you're specifically referring to a walk score. Because if you say it's walking distance to this, not everybody walks, so be careful with that. But there's a walk score. You could use the walk score and say, hey, this house has a 60 walk score. That you can say, that's safe. So just want to, again, make sure you guys are safe with how you do this stuff so you don't offend people or get yourself caught up in something that you don't want to be. But it's important to know that people care about the walkability. So whether you choose to tell them about the walk score, that's one way to do it. Or what I would recommend is know the community and be able to tell them, oh, you love coffee shops. Well, let me tell you about Cafe Calabria that's over here on 30th Street, or let me tell you about this coffee shop that's over here. If you could tell them about what's close by, that would be important.
This is 2 blocks away from this.
Yes. So that kind of stuff you can say it's 2 blocks from. Don't say it's a 2-block walk. It's 2 blocks from. It's 3 blocks from. It's a quarter mile from. Safe. But the big thing is buyers do care about, so let's just kind of replace walkability with things to do close by. And so if you can, when you list a home, if you can educate a buyer about what is close by, that is important to know because buyers do care about that. That is a huge factor in their buying decision of what's important to them. Number 3 on there is in their preferred neighborhood. That's kind of logical. The commute to work is number 4 on the list. So if the commute, if you talk to somebody and at some point they express that a commute is important to them, well, on this chart, there's the green, the blue, and the dark blue. The green is that it's not very important, but the light blue and the dark blue is it's either somewhat important or very important. So if you add up the two numbers on the commute, and it's 77%. So 77% of buyers said the commute time is important to them. So do you think it would be important if I'm showing somebody a property and I give them a little cloud CMA book and I actually write on there what their commute time would be, like I find out where it is that they work, and I could tell them what their commute time is? So now I'm telling them about things that there are in the neighborhood, which Cloud CMA is nice because it has the, you could put the restaurant thing on there and the school thing, so you guys should be doing that every time you make a Cloud CMA. But also the commute times. That's important to people. So if you could spend a few extra minutes, pull up the commute times for people, I think they would appreciate that. And that's something that I guarantee you 99.9% of other realtors aren't doing. Something that's real cool I'll show you guys is... So here's what you could do.
Because anybody
Google.
who lives in Santee knows if you're trying to get over the 52.
So let me show you what Google does. All right. So let's say I pull up my house. Okay. And I pull up directions. All right. So I could pull up these directions. It's going to tell me what is my commute time right now. Okay. It's 23 minutes. But there's this little part right here that says leave now. So you could ask your client, what time do you typically go to work? Oh, I normally leave at 8 o'clock. Cool. I could put departs at 8 o'clock on here. And now it's going to tell me it's typically 22 to 30 minutes. So you could literally print this out off of Google and say, according to Google, this is what it is. What's funny is if you put something in like Orange County, I went golfing the other day, you pull something like this up in Orange County, it gives you anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours and 10 minutes, like a 40-minute range on it. So you can leverage this with clients to say, according to Google, this is what it estimates your commute to be. So again, all this stuff using sources, using data is very beneficial. But I think, especially if you have people that are looking in particular areas or they express a particular concern about their commute time, it would be good to be able to tell them what they can expect. But you don't want to give, you don't want them to like, oh, is there much traffic here? That's an opinion. Be careful with opinions. Opinions are dangerous. And you could just say, it just depends on the time of day that you leave and everything. If you know it's bad traffic, maybe you don't want to show them it. Now, there's nothing wrong with not showing them. But you could say, if they say, hey, is the traffic bad? What you could do is you can go on Google and you can punch it in and put time of day, and it'll give you an idea. And it's up to them to go check it. It's not your job to check that shit out for them. But you at least gave them the advice to go and check on it, so they can't get mad at you if they end up having an hour-long commute.